What computer components are currently vulnerable to magnets? When I first started using computers, law of the land in computer class was never bring magnets near anything computer related, lest you lose all your data or screw up your monitor. Now I am pretty sure magnets will still royally mess up a standard hard drive, and I know for a fact they screw up a CRT monitor. Though I am also pretty sure they do not screw up a LCD monitor. Now I have my phone which uses magnets to determine if it's docked, and it made me wonder. Is it the power of the magnet preventing data loss or the sheer fact that whatever memory type in the phone is immune to it? What about earbuds, as I know those have tiny magnets in them? Are those capable of damaging any electronic device currently in use? I'm wondering if I'm being paranoid, but I really am not sure what magnets will damage and what they won't. Is there a list, or rule of thumb for determining what will be hurt by magnets and what won't be?
Hard drives, RAM chips, power supply, anything electrical can be vulnerable to magnetic fields. In common practice, it's not all that harmful unless you're doing it on purpose. Case in point is the magnet MacBooks come with built-in to use with the power supply.
A list or rule? Sure, anything that uses electromagnetism to function could, and would be affected by magnets. The question is what the detrimental effects, if any, would be and how strong and close do the magnets need to be. Generally the two most questioned items are the monitor and disk drives. LCD/LED monitors are not generally susceptible to magnetic interference like CRTs are because they function completely differently. Remember, CRTs use magnets to deflect the electron beam, so an external magnet would obviously mess with that. Hard drives are also not affected by magnets because of the way they function. You can research the details on how hard drives work for a more thorough understanding, but the easy answer is that there is a very powerful magnet inside each hard drive that controls the read-write head's movement. That's why some people like to rip open dead drives to get at the sweet, gooey super strong magnet inside. If that magnet that is inside the drive, and right beside the platters doesn't wipe them, then any magnet that you are likely to have around isn't going to. As for flash drives, they are a different technology altogether, so they are not going to get erased. There is one component however that is indeed affected by magnets that most people miss: cables. While many cables are shielded, some are not and thus susceptible to a magnetic field. For example, a cable connecting the sound card to the speaker may be shielded, but the little cable connecting the CD/DVD drive to the sound card usually isn't, and ingress of a magnetic field could cause interference. Or, while rounded-eyed cables, especially for IDE133, are usually shielded, ribbons usually aren't, and even at speeds of 66/100ths could be affected enough to cause some corruption or at least reduce performance due to retried reads/writes. I would say that modern systems are not really vulnerable anymore because as time progresses, science and knowledge advances, but unfortunately that's not sufficient. While that may be true, in the old days things were done right a lot more than today with all the cut corners and cost-reducing measures, e.g. Nvidia's bumpgate. Anyway, the point is that when it comes to modern computers, I'm counting floppy disks as not modern. You don't really need to worry about magnets. You can breathe a sigh of relief. Smile.
I've passed a standard size 512 GB HDD through a magnet strong enough that I couldn't pull a chunk of metal off it, and it functioned absolutely fine afterwards, and does to this day, as far as I know. I think it's safe to say hard drives aren't that susceptible anymore. CW, because this is, obviously, not proof of any kind, just my experience. I do not endorse the using of magnets on 500 and 12 GB HDDs. Use them to store media or something if you really don't want it. P.
Rarely a problem anymore. Higher bit density requires higher coercivity, which results in greater resistance to accidental magnetism. Old single-density floppies could be wiped out if you ran them over with a vacuum cleaner. Newer hard drives are quite resistant to erasure from anything you're likely to have laying near the computer at home.